Well, now before us, we have the larch forest. Now, I mentioned earlier, this isn't really a bog forest anymore for me, although I collected almost all of these trees from a bog. This back one that's buried back here was from my favorite nursery, Gerton's. But these were collected. So I've got a couple of inch plus trees that could be upwards of 30 years old. This one could be 10, 15, 20 years old. So some fun trees. We've got all kinds of movement on this forest, and I've got one that's dying in this forest. It's kind of hanging in there, but you know, it's not getting much sun probably. So we're just gonna leave this as a tree that's not doing so well. You know, I might be able to clip off some of these dead branches and maybe break a few off and make them look like they were snapped. And then there's some life up here, right? So we'll see about that dead tree in a little bit. We have to make more room to even see what's going on. So I don't have this on a spin table. It's too big of a pot. This is my homemade pot with a boot tray, one of my favorite boot trays, with just some extra decking board that I had and split up and made into this pot. It's going to need some protection probably next year. If I don't do it by this fall, for sure by next year. So the thought behind this forest, just so you know, and the reason why I'm going away from a bog forest is because the bog forests in Minnesota are super tall, skinny trees. And they probably are close to 50, 75, 100-year-old trees that are just skinny and tall. And that's where a tree like this could be 30 years old, because anywhere from an inch or so, or a little bit more than an inch, could be upwards of 30 years, according to people's studies up in northern Minnesota. So my goal for this forest is actually to have a few upright kind of bog-like trees, but then also have more of that old growth forest feel. And that's why I'm letting these get all big and bushy. This is the mother tree right here, and this is like your secondary tree, although this back one is pretty thick. That's the real refined one from the nursery store. These have more textured bark, and I really like that. And so when you look at an old growth forest, they're not conical shape anymore. They get kind of that round top. And so that's going to be my goal. Kind of the cathedral style when you look at the redwoods, or just your big pine. When you go up north in Minnesota and you see all these pointy, tippy, skinny trees, you'll see this great big red or white pine that's big and a big round plume of foliage up on top. So that's the goal for these two big trees. These will be the big round trees, maybe the back ones someday. And these other ones, I'm going to kind of make them more conical. So we've got some trimming to do, so let's get started with that. I'm going to start with the conical trees here on this side first, because that'll just be a lot easier. We've got a branch going up. I'm going to cut it off, and we're going to cut this one shorter. And we're going to cut this pretty short here, cut this shorter here, shorter here. We want a conical tree. So this isn't a tree that I have to stop and make a whole lot of painstaking decisions on. I'm just making it super conical for the future growth of this tree. This one back here has a branch that's coming way at us out here too, so we're going to cut that shorter right off the bat. So now I have a really skinny tree. I don't have any growth down here. We might get some back budding, but we have a tall, skinny tree. Be careful, I got a thick branch up here, it's thicker than the ones down here, so we're just going to watch that over time and make sure that all this gets time to grow. This is a little bit in our face, but there we go. Just a slight conical feel to that one right there. Let me step over here and get to these leaning trees. Now I have these rocks back in here to support these because we've had some windy weather. I want to make sure that they don't come tumbling down. I got a free maple tree here and another free maple tree here. We'll take that out of here. So we got this tree in the back. Can we make this one conical? This one's going to be a struggle. Let's get this tree, branch rather, shortened right there and there for now. That might take that branch off. And let's get this one a little bit shorter. And this is going up, so we'll cut that off. But how are we going to do that? Yeah, we're going to cut this real thick one off right there. And shorter, 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 conical shape. We need something to take over for that pointy tip. And then we get bigger towards the bottom. These are on the inside, so they're not getting as much light. They naturally wouldn't be as big. So this is kind of a tall, skinny tree. If it can keep coming up here and be this tall point, maybe angle more up, that could be kind of fun. Got this rock here. I'm going to have to keep it right there for probably 2 more years to get these roots really, really supported. So this one's kind of been trimmed down a little bit here. got a dead branch in there, a little dead portion there. So not as conical as this one, but we should be okay. Now the one you're gonna have a tough time seeing is way back there, so we'll trim up this one first. So this is kind of coming right at us. Cut that off. This is going back towards the tree. We're gonna cut that off. This one's growing right at us. We deepen the tree. This one's going down. We're just gonna shorten this one up a little bit, shorten this one up a little bit. A lot of thick growth on this one. This is coming from up here. Shorten that up a little bit too. We are just gonna shorten this. Again, I haven't touched this tree all spring long. So a lot of this is going to be shortening it up. We do want that round top eventually. So we're going to leave all the, a little bit more length up here so it's not so conical. But has a little bit more of a round. This one's going too up in the air. So we're shortening all these, but we're not shortening them into this really super long ones on the bottom and super short ones on the top. Just giving this a trim to send back all that growth. Here's a left branch growing right in there. This one's growing up. We'll cut that out. These two down here could probably be taken off. This one up here a little bit more too straight. So now we have this tree that can hopefully continue to get this great big feel to it as compared to the bottom and compared to the real conical shapes around it. Step back, take a look at that with you. Yeah, I like that. No, this has no growth on it right here. So this will become a gin. I will gin this one, and I'll gin that one today. Let's go back to the skinny one in the back. We're just gonna go ahead and cut this thing back to a really conical shaped tree. Really skinny. And hope that that does really good in the next bush of growth. Now look where that tree is. It would be good for me to turn this forest around and let the sun get to those back trees more, because these are getting plenty of sun, right? Let's go ahead and get this guy right here. Coming right at me. Coming right at me, but I'm just gonna shorten those. Shorten those. And again, we want bigger and rounder on top, so we're not gonna make super small. But these trees are all talking to each other with massive growth. And we want this to be a great big round kind of canopy here in the future. This one's coming in actually, so we're going to cut that one off. Again, so I got a twin trunk up here, right? We're going to have all this stuff growing. We want this rounded shape more than we want a triangle shape. Probably should have left that one on. All right, and come down here, and again, tall and really big on the top, and the bottom might have some depth from years of growth. So that's pretty much that one. There's a couple of branches back here going into the back trees. You can't see on camera, but now that one is pretty much trimmed up. And look at how nice and lush this top section is. So it's going to have that real big, we have a big old growth forest tree that's just going to have these great big branches up here and not a whole lot towards the bottom. We have this tall tree here that has, again, some depth on the bottom right here. I can snap that off. It's not going to snap off. We'll just let it go for now. So then we've got all of this growth on this back tree, which is from the nursery. We want this one to be a little bit more Christmas tree like too, a little bit more conical. So we're gonna make these top sections a lot shorter and let this one continue to grow. Let's go ahead and finish this one though here, right? This one's going to be a little bit more of your conical shaped tree. So we have to make these all nice and small and short here. Get upward growth, a new apex on this one. Cut all these shorter to show a real more tall, skinny, conical shaped pine tree as opposed to that round one. This one here is going to be a younger tree that's going to be tall and skinny compared to these two monster trees. We'll let this one get bigger too, so these will be the big pride and joy up here and here. That certainly needed a haircut. Now we're going to go to this middle one that was dying, showing some weird sparse growth, some brown tips. Oops, gotta be careful here. And again, I can come in here. We're going to give it a trim to make it more that. This is going to be more that conical one again, where we have to be thin on top. And now with all this trimming of all of the forest, things are just going to be getting more light in there. And we'll see what happens with this tree with all these, you know, broken branches right here on the way up. Which is what happens in nature too. We lose trees all the time. I like that. There's what trimming a tree can do for you. You can see the trees now. Again, this left side's very, very lush and thick, so you can't see that great big tree in the background that has all of that green foliage and thickness. Hopefully now the sun can even get at more of these trees. Looking super lush and pretty. Missed a couple of big ones over here. There we have our larch forest. How fun is that? Again, a couple branches in the back that we missed. I was talking with, through some chat with Bald Yeti a couple weeks back, a month back or more, and talking about how busy the spring was going to be and how sometimes maybe it's just good to let our trees grow. These trees just all were growing all spring now, all spring. This is middle of July and I'm finally getting to it. Whereas I think Nigel's on his second or third prune with his larch forest already. So it's nice to see all that growth. It's so thick and lush now, and we're going to see how this tree can develop over the next couple of weeks of this summer, and then we'll continue to work on this kind of old growth forest feel in the tree. We're going to get it more thick up here to have that rounded top, and we'll see if any of these can produce some more depth down here. This one is a goner, so we're going to gin that. So let me get my pliers and we'll gin that. Now this branch has probably been dead this entire year, so it's not going to be as full of liquid in here. I can already feel how stiff it is up here, so it's not going to be coming apart as easy. We go ahead and we take our pliers and we damage all that bark. And if I can do a nice job of it here, there we go. We broke that off instead of cut it off. Oops, should have broke the other way. So we work some gin into this tree, a little death. After all, this is the oldest tree in the forest if it's the mother tree. See if I can get that track going a little bit more this way. There we go. There we go, just a little bit more of a break. There we go. There we go. And that'll get a little bit more gray with time. I could put some lime sulfur on that to make it whiter. I do have a little bit of that. I have not applied it to any of my trees yet, but we'll just let that go right there. Let's step back and take a look at that with y'all. Yeah, what a different looking forest from just a few short minutes ago. We've got a real thick nursery tree back here. We've got all these skinny, spindly, kind of that bog looking tree, the long, tall. And we've got a couple of mother trees here. This one right here, mother, maybe son, daughter. These two are the king or the queen and princess of the forest, or the king and prince. Any way you want to look at it. We'll leave it right here. We'll try to get this beast back on the shelf right here. What a fun forest. A larch day with a lot of success. This has been a lot of fun. Let's see if I can get it up top. My update today is a little bit of sad news, and before I share my sad news, I wanted to share that I'm feeling really bummed and really sad for Appalachian Bonsai. So thanks to Appalachian Bonsai for putting out the last video that he did about the death of his trees. 5 or 6 really good quality trees that he's been working on for years, and he shared that, you know, they died. And I appreciate all the honesty with the YouTubers that do bonsai, and realizing that with all the successes, you know, we have failures too. So my mentor Peter T has been in town a couple times in the last couple of years, and we got this beautiful pine tree, Austrian pine, right? And we were going to make these trees and bring them on down and try to get some back budding. And a few of the group's trees have died, and you can see right in front of you here to my right, my Austrian pine bit the dust. Now, what went wrong? Appalachian Mountain trying to figure out what happened to his bonsai. These were repotted, and we had one more cold spell after the repot. And though these are very Minnesota hardy and there's a lot of soil in this box, I wonder if my fresh new roots, I don't know that it got to freezing any of those nights, but awfully close. And I had it out on the porch a couple more nights than I should have, instead of in the garage. That's what I'm gonna go with. That we took so many roots out, maybe a little too many, I don't know. I got the green thumb to take what I took out, and yeah, but maybe the conditions of less than 35 degrees was too much for the root system of this beautiful, beautiful trunked tree that we were going to turn into a hopefully really fun bonsai. It's dry as a bone right now, and it is a part of the bonsai graveyard now. So again, a big thanks to Appalachian Bonsai for sharing that news and being so honest and forthright with, hey, you know, we're not done with bonsai until they're dead, and it's really sad when they die. So it's kind of a bummer. And that's going to wrap it up for today. Had a lot of fun with the larch, the tamarack, the forest, the logo forest, and of course my upright. What a fun day to clip and grow for bonsai. Thanks for joining. Hey, the PSGF Part 2 is really inching up to around the corner. I've had a few people bugging me like, hey Dave, where is it? We're almost there. Trust me, give me a few more. I don't even want to give you a time frame. We'll see you soon with that. But until then, hey, take care of you, take care of your bonsai, and we'll catch you on the next one.